Oh no, there's drama. About a horse game. First, I want to start by saying I am someone who absolutely loves horses. Everything equine you could think of, I love horses. I've basically owned every side to horse gaming you could think of. I've even hunted down all the older games, all the Gallop Racer series, G1 Jockey. I hate Barbie with a passion, but I actually got Barbie Horse Adventures just for the horses. I finally decided to play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild just for the horses. I was even remotely interested in Red Dead Redemption 2 because of the horses. Anything that has horses, Shadow of the Colossus, you name it, I will buy it for that reason. So if you can't tell by now, I love horses. You've heard me talk about Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, Black Beauty, Seabiscuit, Hidalgo, Racing Stripes. I've watched almost every horse movie there is to watch. I used to want to own horses until I realized they're fucking expensive and I wouldn't just want to ride them. I would want them to run free and have lots of land for them to do so. Technically where we live, we can get horses, but we'd have to chop down a lot of our trees and I just feel like it would never be enough space for them. And did I mention they're freaking expensive? But anyways, I found this short by this guy named Mad Morph talking about a horse girl game where you're a courier and it's set in the ancient Mongolian era. So naturally, I look up the game to get more info on it because now I'm sold. Mad Morph has provided these little cool snippets where you can just get these games. And I'm just like, ooh, this is a game I like. It has horses. I don't give a frick where it's set or what. You get to ride horses and tame them and breed them. And are you kidding me? Okay, say less. Say less. Take my money up the ass. I do not care. But then I see people, of course, one of the people I follow talking about it, and I'm like, yes, but then there was drama attached to it, and I was really confused. Now, I want to start off by saying, first of all, if you hear things somewhere, it's because my husband is doing construction. It's just an all-day thing, so I apologize if that bleeds through. You will hear it. That's what it is. And the other thing is, the people I'm going to be talking about in this video, it's a very awkward situation for me because I like both YouTubers for different reasons. I've watched both of their videos. One of them I've watched more than the other. I actually follow this person, because she's all about horses. And her name is Abigail Pinehaven. I don't know why I'm not subscribed to her. I think I probably subscribed to her on another channel or something a while back that I use specifically for viewing horse and animal content. And I didn't want to mess up the algorithm for this one. So it's probably why I'm not subscribed to her on this one. But if you guys like anything horses and all horse games, check out Abby. She definitely is the person to go through for that. But she made a video recently, and of course she came up in my suggested because I've watched a few videos from her and she was talking about Legend of Khiimori and I'm like, ooh, snap, let's go. So I'm looking at her video and I'm hearing the drama and I'm like, oh no. What now?
The Wokes are at it again with their pronouns, but this time they've struck horse games. Hello friends, my name is Abigail Pinehaven and I'm a horse game YouTuber as well as a horse game consultant. Very niche, I know, but that makes me somewhat qualified to talk about this tweet, which blew.
So she showcases the tweet by the creator saying, we're making a game where you play as a courier rider in the 13th century, Mongolia. No combat, just you, the horse or horses you've tamed, bred, and trained the vast wilderness. Would you play this? Fuck yes. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, it is very awkward when you're watching a video of a YouTuber that you like that either has an issue with another YouTuber that you've watched that you somewhat like. It's very awkward. But I understand. I don't think she's getting at this person because she doesn't like them. And I know some of you are going to think I'm biased because I like Abby and I watch her stuff. You'll see what I'm talking about in this case. I think she's missing part of the conversation. However, I can understand her looking at things from the outside in, just taking it at face value, why she'd feel this way. A lot of people would probably agree with her too. And in this specific situation, I kind of agree with her, but I also agree with people who are upset with modern gaming and how lackluster it has become, and people getting all bent out of shape about things that should not be important to the game. And I'm talking about the developers, because people just want to have fun. I think people are a little bit too trigger happy when it comes to certain things, and I think in that respect, it's getting a little overblown for this game. And maybe it's a good thing because, as she says later on, had that not been the case, I probably would never have heard of Legend of Khiimori, or it wouldn't be getting as much traction as it is. So let's hear a little bit of what Abby has to say, because I'm going to be addressing her points, and I am going to do my best to stay neutral. And I know a lot of people who follow me are probably going to get mad at me. And no, it's not because it's a horse game and I like horses. It has nothing to do with me liking Abby. It has nothing to do with that. This is already something I felt moderately strong about before this was even in the equation. I just never said anything about it because, to be honest, I thought it was a little bit ridiculous.
Basic tweet absolutely blew up and has people raging. Alice Rupert, well known in the horse gaming community as the creator behind the Main Quest blog. She's been around for years, writing articles on horse games and games with horses. She is also a game consultant, and while I'm not sure of the extent of her work, I do know that she was community lead on Wildshade, which is a fantasy—
Oh, Wildshade, let's go! I have that game. I love that game. One of my favorite horse games. I know I'm geeking out right now, but I was getting so sick and tired of games like since Alice, the Alice project. I love that game, and I think they had given up on it, but then the fans, the community were like, no, let's continue. It was a Korean horse game, and it's the best MMO. It's not really an MMO technically, but I guess it kind of can be counted as an MMO because you are racing against all these other players, and they kept that going. Since I've gotten my new system, I haven't reinstalled it. It's a whole thing to set it up. But anyway, that was really cool. The other name for it was Alicia Online, and yeah, this game was really, really big, and I was, when I found out about it around the time I did, I was like, oh my god, and then I'm like, oh no, it's shut down, but then people kept it going, and I like what you can do. You can race people. It's like Mario Kart, but for horses, and the horses look amazing, and you can breed them and stuff. Really cool things. So yeah, this horse game kind of reminded me of that, and on another channel I had said as much. So that actually, for me personally, for this kind of game, knowing that she kind of was involved with that makes me a little bit more hopeful.
Horse racing game and a creative producer on Horsetail's Emerald Valley Ranch. She's currently working as a creative producer and consultant on a brand new horse game, Windstorm, The Legend of Khiimori. This is where our story begins.
So just so you know, from what she has said so far, would you think there is anything wrong with this? From what I have seen of this trailer, which is what we're seeing here right now, so far I've not seen anything wrong with the marketing. It's just about horses. Say what you want about people and their ideologies or whatnot, but from me personally, what I have seen when it comes to horse games or games like Creatures of Scenaria or any animal games, The Isle, what have you, politics, ideologies are all left at the door, because when it really comes down to it, all of us, when we want to play a game that's just about animals, we just want to think about the animals. We don't like the humans. We don't even care about the humans. If they make a game that's just about horses running over the wild and you get to talk with other people as horses, I don't mean freaking Star Stable or one of those mods. I mean like actual Red Dead Redemption graphics where you get to be a horse and have different powers and stuff. Like if I were a video game maker, dude, that's what I would do. But I think people would be happy about that. And it provides you true escapism because you can just be who you are without having to worry about all of the things that humans choose to bicker about that separate them from each other. That is what I have noticed. And in this marketing of this game, that is the case. I know, you're probably wondering where all of this is going.
Legend of Khiimori is actually a nice break from the typical save your family's ranch by competing trope that gets shoved down horse gamers' throat all
I
the
know,
time.
right? Thank
Instead,
God.
this game is set in 13th century Mongolia, where you play as a courier rider, where you tame, train, and breed horses that you will then use to traverse throughout the world. Legend of Khiimori is not currently available to play, as its release is scheduled for sometime in Q1 of 2025. As most games do, however, marketing starts before the release of the game, and thus, this tweet was born.
So Abby showcases a tweet by the creator. The person says, we're making a game where you play a courier rider in 13th century Mongolia. No combat, just use the horses you've tamed, bred, and trained in the vast wilderness. Would you play this? What is the issue here? I don't see any issue, right? Nobody would see an issue with this whatsoever. I mean, historians would probably be like, okay, are you gonna get the Mongolian thing right? You know, but if the focus is not on the history itself and it's on the horses and the horses just happen to be a setting, I don't really see what the point is, since I mean, this is just what I'm getting from the marketing, but the Mongolian setting doesn't seem to be the heavy focus of the game. I could be wrong. And if people want to criticize about the historical accuracy of this game, I could completely understand that. But that's not what anyone else is talking about. That's not what the focus is. But as it stands, if you're interested in horses, which is obviously what this is geared towards, would you play this based on what you see?
Would you play this? And it got 15.5 million views in like just over a week.
So Abby goes on to saying that this tweet garnered 15.5 million views, and it was kind of strange that happened because, you know, this is a horse game. It's usually not catered towards a wider audience. However, the graphics and the way it was presented would obviously appeal to wider audiences or make them at the least a bit more interested.
It has an interesting concept. You're not just brushing a horse and pressing space to jump. You seemingly have a bigger role to play in an interesting world and timeline. So yeah, the tweet was able to reach a much bigger audience because it wasn't all sparkles and rainbows. But that's not all. Another reason the tweet went viral was because of a curious Twitter account called Doodle Whale. They replied saying, "I would love to, as long as it can avoid woke DEI nonsense which appears unlikely as you have pronouns in your bio." Those who don't know, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So yeah, we're off to a great start.
First thing I want to say is I definitely think the person who replied that, you jumped the gun. There is such a thing as overblowing things, and where I understand where the majority of gamers, where the sentiment is coming from, I do agree with a lot of them. This is not one of those cases where that should have been said. It just, because the person has pronouns in her bio, I don't really understand. Look, I get it. I get where it's coming from, and so that I can play devil's advocate, I will flip the script so people don't think I'm being impartial to one or the others. But a lot of people feel like pronouns are symbolic of political agendas, right? For some people, seeing pronouns in someone's bio feels like a signal that the person is aligned with some certain political and social ideologies. And in today's climate, where every social issue that people have, identity, it all seems to be important. People are ruled by the identities, and it doesn't help that people are going viral for getting upset because someone didn't guess their gender correctly. I can understand why people would be a little bit trigger happy about that. Most folks in the real world don't care about that, and the people who are like, you didn't call me ZZit and guess that I'm an avian person, hawk person, whatever, or I look like a dude and you didn't guess properly that I actually identify as an it and a them or a she. Like, how the frick are normal people supposed to know that when they're not in your head? That's not how normal humanity works. People getting bent out of shape and then filming people's reactions of them being like, you misgendered me, when the person's like, bro, I don't even know you. You have a full-on mustache and you're wearing a freaking big-ass tattoo and looking here on manly steroids. How the hell am I supposed to guess that you want to be called Miss Katie? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So those viral clips and people getting upset of that and people getting fired from their job, people are just sick and tired of it. So anytime people see that, they automatically get trigger happy emotionally. Maybe they have PTSD or some shit. And they're just like, yo, anybody who has pronouns in their bio, they have to be one of those people. They just have to be. And I think it's the stereotype. For example, there are a lot of people that are crazy, and it was going viral with a lot of those girls who are ultra feminists and hate men. And they were just saying some weird things like, off with their heads with all men, you know? And they happen to all have like dyed hair, like blue and lavender and stuff. So anybody who now has that hair, it becomes like a stereotype or some kind of uniform for those types of people who have those views. But then you have regular people who just want to freaking wear their hair a different color, right? Like, now I can't dye my hair a color because now people are going to think I'm crazy. Like, it's kind of like when I was going to school in Brooklyn and people thought that because I was wearing all blue or all red that I was a member of the Bloods or the Crips. And I'm just like, no, I'm just repping these colors because I feel like wearing this today and I like color coding my fit. While I do get that there are stereotypes, not everybody fits neatly into a little box. So I don't think that someone having she and her in their bio is a big issue. What if people don't know what you are in real life and you're like, is this person a girl or a boy? Because there are men out there using female people as their profile pictures, and they're like, no, this is just a profile picture that I'm using because I like freaking Mikasa or something, right? But the person is a guy, so that people know who they're talking to. Or people just put that there so it's easily seen. Like, hey, this is what I refer to. Or just in case. Like, who knows? Whatever. Like, on your government force, people are going to ask you, are you a man or are you a woman? Like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. And I remember there was another situation with a game that came out. Some of the people that I watch that I follow for, like, gaming news and stuff, they were getting really upset about it. Now, I get where that's coming from, but was it a little bit overblown? I think it was. If you're choosing pronouns in the very beginning of a game that has no bearings on the story, but it's just a customization thing that is only for you as someone who wants to play the game, I don't see why that's an issue.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
On the other side, I also understand, like I said before, there's a real fear of people being canceled for saying the wrong things. Like I said, people make a big deal out of it because they want to play victim and they want to be the center of attention. And so they make it seem like it's a bigger deal than it really is, that someone didn't guess that their pronouns were wolf and wolfer, which makes no freaking sense.
I was just misgendered in my local FedEx. The woman behind the counter asked her coworker, "Did you help that guy yet?" And after further observation, she goes, "Or lady." See, immediately, my thoughts were, cancel this woman. Because she called me what I look like. Just kidding. That's what y'all would do. I, on the other hand, am aware that I look like a guy. Look at me! Am I a guy? Nope, just a dyke. But this is your message. If you look like a guy, they're gonna call you a guy. If you look like a chick, they're gonna call you a chick, regardless of what you identify as. Okay? And stop taking it so personally. In fact, you'd be a little happier if you could laugh sometimes. Laugh at it.
People are tired of it. And so you have it coming over into the gaming sphere. Gaming has always been a bit of a battleground when it comes to social issues. And you have all the Gamergate discussions about representations. So a lot of gamers feel like our hobby, like I'm one of them, you have these people that are coming in, everyone's enjoying themselves. Everybody from all walks of life, doesn't matter where you are, who you believe, what you are, where you come from, what language you speak. We can all come together and just escape. And then you have these people trying to inject activism where it doesn't belong, on a platform it doesn't belong to. So I guess, I don't know, to a lot of other gamers, them seeing pronouns in a developer's bio might seem like another example of outsiders trying to shape and control gaming culture, even though I don't understand why it fits this specific situation.
You might think that a few more pixels in a video game would be good. However, for some, if they're around the female character's chin, it means that their favorite game has gone woke. Anti-woke gamers have coined the term DEI chin to describe when female characters, over time, seem to be given more masculine and defined jawlines. There seems to be a direct correlation between how many clothes Lara Croft has and how strong her chin is, and it's triggering people badly.
Because they're ugly!
Just, I don't know, in my opinion, I think that, I don't know, there's something a little bit childlike about it, a grown man to be playing games, and it is a huge turn off for me, and I'm bloody glad my man doesn't play video games.
Sky Broadband and Guildy Sports invited men to train in their new immersive gaming room.
This is what happened.
I bet you are so fat in real life. Hey you. Oi, just spit or swallow?
Why are you asking?
I've heard much worse than that.
This is every day for me. I want gaming to be a safe space for us.
Change needs to happen now.
Change needs to happen now.
Change needs to happen now.
They might believe that the person may be putting them in the bio because they're obsessed with gender as well, and they're making that their entire identity. I'm just guessing. I don't want to seem like I'm speaking for everyone. I'm just going off of, it doesn't bother me personally, but I'm trying to see it from the lens of those who are upset about it. The other thing is that the companies kind of caused this because there are a lot of developers and companies that started only adding pronouns and making statements about inclusivity as a knee-jerk reaction because of these viral clips. And they're like, look, we do gender too. See, we got pronouns in our bio too. Like, a lot of them were just jumping on the social trends so they could appear, what's the word that people use now that's so increasingly annoying and woke, yeah, without genuinely caring about the issues. So it feels inauthentic to people who look at them. They look at the developer's bio and like, oh, you're another one of those companies that's trying to pander to people whose identities are wrapped up in this whole thing. So maybe that's where that's coming from. So that's me playing devil's advocate, and I don't want to say devil's advocate, but that's me seeing things from that person's side. But now let's go to the other side of things, which is the side I'm kind of on, where you gotta pick your battles properly or people are not going to, oh, look at the snake. I'm sorry. Oh, look at the baby, you're so cute. Sorry, my snake just shed. He's so soft. He's so shiny. I'm sorry. So in this case, I feel like Doodle Whale is ironically, putting the cart before the horse here. Like, there is nothing about this game so far aside from the developer just having she and her in her bio. Like, I don't understand. I personally don't get what the issue is with that. If you guys get mad at me for saying that, okay, I'm just being honest. I don't see it as a big deal. If the entire game is not going to be about gender ideology, then there's no problem. It doesn't matter what your viewpoint or what you do outside of that, but if you're making a game to market it towards everybody, and you know the majority of people are not down with that, then if it's not in the game, it shouldn't be an issue, right? I personally would love for there to be an option to have pronouns and customizable options for the writers, because I can't tell you how many times I play horse games and every single time they're always women. Like, men don't like horses too. I know a majority of people who own horses that I know in real life and have worked for, yes, they are women. There is a stereotype, but that doesn't mean that I want my character to be a woman all the time. I want to be a guy. I want to have like a good looking dude riding a horse, you know? And that's why I love Red Dead Redemption, because I'm like, finally, the freaking Shadow of the Colossus, Breath of the Wild, let's get some dudes. Let's get at least an option if you're going to make a game like this. That's just me. So I do like that there's a little diversity there, but let's get on with this. Poor Doodle Whale.
Nonsense which appears unlikely as you have pronouns in your bio. For those who don't know, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So yeah, we're off to a great start. If you're unaware, pronouns are how we refer to people and things. She went to the market. It fell off the table. They had a tantrum. In more recent history, it's become common to put your pronouns in your bio so that people will know how to refer to you in the third person. Alice replies to that tweet with an absolutely killer line. For every comment like this, I will add an extra pronoun into the game.
Okay, that's kind of... Obviously, Alice is being a smartass here, because I see where she's coming from, because imagine making a game that has nothing to do with that. You just happen to have pronouns in your bio that has nothing to do with the game. You're marketing the game as just what it is, and then someone from out of the blue is like, yo, as long as you got pronouns in your bio, this game's probably gonna be shit. Like, I'd probably be a little sarcastic too. Am I saying this was the right response for her to have? Maybe not, but I can understand, because it was just like, you went all the way. Everyone is celebrating this for being a horse game. You went all the way over there. No, I don't understand people making the argument against people by saying, well, you got pronouns in your bio. Yeah, is there a bit of a stereotype with certain people like that? Sure, but enough people are doing it now that I don't think it matters. Hell, my cousin, he is... Okay, like, look, we disagree on a lot of things. I love him. That's my baby right there. Since I knew him when he was in his mother's belly, like, we were siblings kind of, and we disagree on a lot of things. We agree on a lot of them. When it comes to gaming and pop culture and stuff like that, oh, we're tight. But there are certain things that he is very conservative about, which is interesting given his hobby, which I won't say. He's very liberal when it comes to his specific hobby, but he's also very savage when it comes to other things. So he also has pronouns in his bio, and you wouldn't think he would, but he does. And nobody cares. Like, the reason do I have pronouns in my bio? Wait, let me look. No, I do not. I don't think I do. Anybody who's following me, I'm very, very closed when it comes to my followers. So if you've been asking to follow me for like years or something and I didn't accept you, number one, the list is very freaking long and you're probably at the bottom of the list. Number two, I only accept who I want to accept to follow me. Not everyone gets to follow my Twitter. It is what it is. I know some people share with their friends and whatnot. I don't care. But I accept everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, so don't feel like I'm ignoring you. It's just people who I look through. And if you have a bio and I can see a little bit about who you are, I am more willing to accept your friend request or your follow request, or not. Who knows? But yeah, I don't have any pronouns in my bio, which you think I would, because my Fox form probably isn't obvious to people. They probably don't know if I'm a woman or a man. To some people, I sound like a boy, so they wouldn't know. Like, I mean, for all you know, I could be like a freaking 300-pound dude in a basement doing a girl voice with a voice changer. Nudge, nudge. You never know, right? Red beard and everything, freaking cheesy grease and ball grease, and sitting in batters of my own baby batter that I'm not making babies with because I won't leave my freaking chair from my freaking basement that my dad and my mom are paying for. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So even regardless, I can just be like, yo, I'm a girl or I'm a dude. But I don't have that in there because I don't think it's necessary, because I think it's kind of obvious, at least for me. Some people say I sound like something else, but I think to the majority of people I sound like a woman, so I don't feel like there's a need for that personally. And also I feel like it's kind of redundant putting it in there, because it's like, why? Is there... I can understand if day-to-day basis people look at me and they're like, the thing looks like a stick. I can't tell if it's a man or a woman. And I would be like, just in case y'all were wondering, because I'm quite androgynous, here it is. But I'm not. I'm not androgynous, so it's pretty obvious to people. So I get that. So that's why I personally don't have them. But for other people who have them in there, I have some people that have pronouns that are fucking you. Some pronouns are eat and shit. Others are when and day. Like, it's just... everyone's just taking the piss at this point, so I don't think it matters. But yeah, that's where some of that is coming from.
It doesn't matter what you think about Alice. This is the coldest snapback you could have hoped for. So let's jump into how bigotry skyrocketed a horse game into the wider internet space. That is not a sentence I thought I was going to be saying this year. So, did they just wokeify a game set in 13th century Mongolia, before pronouns, when men could be men, and people died of dysentery? As a YouTuber named Rev Says Desu said...
So today we're going to be looking at another example.
Oh no. And this is where it got very uncomfortable for me. This is where it got very fucking uncomfortable, because, you know when you have a mom and a dad, and it's like, now they're fighting, and they're like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. Don't ask me shit. It's like when my mom and dad, before they got divorced, and my mom was like, you know, getting mad at me for taking my dad's side because she kind of did the same thing he did. And I was like, Mom, like, I understand. Or it was kind of, how could you? I'm like, listen, don't put me in the middle of it. That's between you and daddy. You guys want you're the ones getting divorced. You work that shit out. Do not put me in the middle. Oh, I thought you were an adult. I said, okay, I'm going to be adult right now and turn this phone off, because clearly I'm not going to have you sitting here manipulating me because I'm taking daddy's side because you were on his ass for something that you were doing way before he did. Like, what the fuck? Like, bruh. It's very uncomfortable. So I like to remove myself from that situations. When two friends are fighting, and I've been in those situations, I'm not saying shit to either of them. One friend over here is fucking around with someone else. The boyfriend's coming up to me and asking if she's fucking around, and no, I don't know. You talk to each other. I don't know. I don't know anything. Let's go. It's very uncomfortable. So I do watch Rev. What's his freaking name? Hold on.
YouTuber named Rev Says Desu.
Rev Says Desu. Okay, yeah. So I've seen a few of his videos pop up, and he's a femboy character. And I'm like, the first thing that drew me to him was, to be honest, was the female-looking character. It could be a dude, but it was the deep-ass voice coming from this vampire? I don't know what his character's supposed to be, but it was interesting. That's why I say avatars are cute, because they're marketable and people can recognize your avatar. More so, human faces are boring, you know? But I think it's interesting, and I do follow him for some gaming news stuff to see what's going on, because I was looking at a lot of gaming stuff, and, you know, because I love games too, and that's when I actually started seeing a lot of stuff was going on with these articles. I'm wondering, why are these articles acting like this? What the hell are these kinds of opinions with these articles? And then I started searching YouTube videos, and then he got suggested because I was looking up those things to see if anybody else was seeing what I was seeing in gaming and seeing what I was recognizing these articles starting to do. So he did pop up as suggested, and I did watch a few of his other stuff because he follows whatever trends are going on. Most likely it seems to be what is going on with gaming, because gaming has just become, I don't know what's going on, but I've covered a few of that on my channel as well. So, knowing what we know now about what the creator said, anybody who would have seen that knows the creator clapped back and was being sarcastic. I've done that to people. Maybe it's not the best response, but it sure is funny and it makes me feel better. And I know it made her feel better because she was like, okay, this person's being ridiculous. So, yes, they're taking the piss. And I don't know what this video was. It says Twitch TV, so maybe he was streaming this. I love you, Rev, but damn. That was a little secondhand embarrassment. Maybe he took it back or whatever, but because I couldn't find it because I wanted to get it in context. But this was, I guess, what his response was to the whole thing.
We'll be looking at another example of a game crippling its own success by appealing to the modern audience.
Ah yes, a modern audience. Progressive, tolerant, inclusive.
Okay, wait 1 second, Abby. To anyone else who thinks of, like, I know what you think, right? It may seem as though the modern audience is supposed to be inclusive, but for the longest while, since you and my generation or the older people, they've been more inclusive, they've been more tolerant. So the modern audience that people talk about, when they say modern audience, they're not actually talking about us. You and I are not the modern audience. This populace of people who were just suddenly no racist and super tolerant, that didn't just happen yesterday or in the last 5 years. This has been a thing that the media is trying to make it seem just appeared or that they're now responsible for creating. So they're actually like, and you know this because every time they say, oh, we're modernizing something, we're making it for modern people, it usually resonates with absolutely nobody. Even the people that are like, yes, we love that. They don't support that stuff because it's not appealing to them. So this modern audience that they're talking about, nobody still to this day knows what the fuck they're talking about because it's not any of us. We're all tolerant, we're inclusive, or whatever. But the modern audience, to them, I guess, are people that only care about race and like their gender identity, and it's not about gaming or story anymore. That's what the modern audience is, and nobody likes that. Like, I consider myself center liberal, and that's what the test said I was. Those things don't resonate with me. Like, someone being like, I don't know, making someone like Spanish, right? Like, make them like Puerto Rican. They're or make them Mexican or something, right? And then the character's like, so what do you want to do? Huh? You're gonna put a wall in front of me? Huh? You're gonna call me a fridge? Like, that is so overplayed. The character just making the entire game, throughout the entire game, just letting everybody else know, like, how hard it is to be Mexican and not just existing as a regular person. That's not for the modern audience. I'm sorry I'm frozen on your face looking like this, girl. This is not what I intended. I wasn't even looking at you. But yeah, that's why people are like, nah. Like, even every one of us that are tolerant, we're like, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but now you're going all the way over there to the point where now you do feel like you're being racist. Like what they did with Dustborn. That was crazy, and I'm sure they thought they were doing it for a modern audience.
Oh, the horror.
Now today we're going to be looking at a game called Windstorm, the Legend of Khiimori, who decided it'd be a good idea to add extra pronouns into their game.
Bro! Oh no, the embarrassment. Yo, if I was so embarrassed. I almost made a mistake like this. I'm sure I've made mistakes like this and people have called me out on it and they're like, yo, Allie, you do realize that this is what this was, right? And I had to come back and tell people, y'all, I'm so sorry. I feel so fucking stupid. But there was a time when I almost made something like this. It was a rage bait thing and I'm like, are these people really treating people like this? But then I looked more into it before I even published the video. I'm like, this can't be real. I gotta get even more. So I dug a little deeper and found out the whole thing was parodying. It was actually sarcasm. A sarcasm that was being used. It was a skit. It wasn't real. I was like, oh, okay. Good thing I did delete. I didn't even publish it yet, but this is what, oh no, God, See, this is why if it's a thread with different people, I try to look at what the original thread said. Sometimes it's hard with Twitter trying to go back, but I usually want to see the context as much as I can gather. Sometimes you can't, but sometimes you can. And let's do that right now. Okay, so here we go. Took only 2 minutes. Here is Alice Rupert's page. This is the game. Didn't take long. And here's Doodle Whale saying the thing. Everyone is asking questions about the game, and this person, and the thing is, look, I don't like it when people will see something. We'll be talking about something, a discussion, and random people will come and just be rude, right? They'll just take shots at you about something completely unrelated to the discussion. We'll be talking about a video of something about maybe, like, for example, my latest video, we're interpreting a scene from a show, and people will get so personally offended to the point where they're like, you interpreted it not the way I interpreted it. How could you? You know, you're getting upset because this person is this, and you dumbass, you're a Karen. I'm just like, bro, are you good? Like, people are acting as though you did something personally horrible to them. So you could have said this, or not said it at all, but you could have said this, but which appears unlikely as you have pronouns in your bio, that just came off as you taking a shot at this person who you don't know. And my husband brought up a good point, because I was talking about this with him, and I'm just like, what do you think about this situation right here? Because it seems very silly. He said the thing that he would be concerned about from a game developer is looking at other works that they have done and seeing what they did with it. If other games that they have done they've ruined, or it's just slop, which is not always a guarantee that this one's gonna be bad, but you can usually tell the track record of someone. That's what he's more concerned of when he sees a new game. See, other people are asking these kinds of questions. Animal husbandry and training, okay, see? I didn't see anything about this that was an issue to me at all. I looked at the Steam page. I already put it on my wish list. I'm like, oh, I want this. So this person seeing the DEI stuff just came out of nowhere. Like, I get that's a problem, but this didn't feel like the time or the place. Just to me.
Is Legend of Khiimori really adding pronouns? No. I mean, come on. She's really going to add a pronoun for every comment she receives? People like this are why there's instructions on shampoo bottles. From what I can tell, you play as a female protagonist, and I can assume this based on the Steam tags, as well as in the trailer you play as a female avatar, and there's a feminine actor in the voiceover.
Ugh, I was hoping that they would give you the choice to be male or female, but whatever, I guess. I've played 100 other different games where that's the case. Gallop Racer had you choose though. It gave you the option to be a female or a male. And look, with horse games, just like Gallop Racer and G1 Jockey, most jockeys are not female. They're just not. You'd be hard pressed to find a female jockey. But yet, because it's a game, and they're like, you can look how you want to look, you can choose one of these characters that resonate with you, and they can be female or male. Does a female protagonist in this specific case matter? No, because it's about horses. If it's a story type game, then yes, it would matter a little bit more to me, because for me personally, I'm sick and tired of playing female leads in video games. I'm just tired of it. I at least would like the choice. Sometimes I want to be a male character, and that's why I like playing like MMOs or dungeon crawlers with my husband, because we can like role play. I mean, I like role playing, but anyway, but it's fun. Like, you know, we make characters that look nothing like us. Or that one time we were playing Atlas, he made his character look, I don't know what it was with people and those freaking Atlas or Arc models. This is the reason why the developers of Pal World said that Americans like to make ugly characters. This is the reason. This isn't even the worst. What are these? Oh, God. Yeah, and I had to run next to... Yeah, so it's a little bit disappointing that we can't choose, but it's not the biggest thing, because my thing is I'm going to be concentrated on the horses. I care about the horses. That's what I want.
On the original tweet, promos, dev talks, or trailer were pronouns ever mentioned. However, Alice does have pronouns in her bio, which is where Doodle Whale made the connection that Legend of Khiimori was going to be woke. Wow, we are just missing multiple steps in a thought process and just...
Bro. Okay, so you see what I'm talking... Like, this is... Okay, guys, I don't care if you guys hate me for saying this, but it needs to be said. Even if she was adding pronouns to the game... you know, just for your character along the way you're going to be playing it, that's just providing a more inclusive environment for you changing your character the way it looks. If you can, in Arc and Atlas, make a freaking character that looks like a gorilla stepchild made love with your freaking second grade teacher and her cat combined, and then had a surrogate horse as your freaking carrier who gave you some of its DNA. There's no reason to be this upset about this. So long as it's not affecting your gameplay or your experience, it's just an option. For the people who do care about it, they'll feel like they have an option. Fair enough. The real world exists, and most people in the real world do not act like this. They don't adhere to this line of thinking. If a random person is like, call me they, and it's like, bro, first of all, you wouldn't even have to be around here at the same, but whatever, okay, you know, you throwing a hissy fit and wanting to bisect people just because somebody accidentally didn't refer to you as you wanted your whole life is over. You need to have some thick skin, because people are jerks and will do it just to piss you off, or there will be accidents. It is what it is. And these people will often respond to such behavior as saying, hey, you're living in a make-believe world. Now, when they actually have an opportunity to play in a make-believe game world, they shouldn't have the option to do that. Like, if they feel like they're an alien, but now in a gaming experience, you want that to be the case. What if I wanted to be an alien and my alien doesn't have sex, or they have two sexes, so I'm not a he or a she, and I'm like, oh, I want to pretend that I'm an alien and have that option in the game where I don't feel like that in real life. It shouldn't be an issue to have that add in. Also, the developer has pronouns in her bio, okay? That might reflect her own identity or values. Doesn't mean the entire game is gonna be a political statement. She's just reflecting who she is, or like I said, she just could be putting it there for the sake of putting it there. Developers have the right to create the games that they want, and we can either play them or not play them. But jumping straight to that whole idea without just putting the cart before the horse, this is one of the reasons why people will look at gamers as a whole and laugh at us. Yes, there are battles to be fought. This is not one of them. For the love of God, at least see the target before you start shooting. People have other issues about this game that they want to address, the breed of horse that's being used or the model, whatever the case is, I can get that. My only issues I've ever had with horse games is, do they have breeding? Do they have genetics? Is it just gonna be a save the ranch thing, which I got really, really tired of? And most importantly for me, the animation of the horse running, which so far, and to my surprise, looks flawless in Breath of the Wild. Like, look at that. Her neck is actually moving the way it ought to. The horse feels like a real horse running. It's beautiful. Can we have a game with this kind of graphics with you know what I'm saying? Like, why is it so hard for people to just make horse games with horses that look and act real? That's all I personally care about. Just look at that. Look at the beautiful animation. Beautiful. Look at the head and wow, it's almost like they rotoscoped a horse. Beautiful. Look at that. Nice. The front legs are a little high when they're stepping out, but it's still beautiful. Ugh.
Wow, we are just missing multiple steps in a thought process and just running with it. And of course, taking Alice's clapback as genuine fact. You know, because this isn't taking the mick out of people who get immediately triggered at the thought of pronouns.
So as we can see here in these replies for public, one person says, "Hi, just your average gamer here. The game looked interesting." Oh my god. Until I found out about the wokeness hidden inside. I shall exercise my power and vote with my wallet by making sure not to buy this game. Oh my god. I'm sorry, it's just the cringe. Like, wokeness hidden inside? What are you talking? I don't really know how to respond.
Wow, we are just missing multiple steps in a thought process and just running with it. And of course, taking Alice's clapback.
Someone else said, I heard the game is already planning to add more gender pronouns. If someone's gender identity is a gunship, a tank, an aircraft carrier, whatever. Okay. You can ask the game consultant in X to add it to the option. How exciting. Oh, God. Oh, God. Look. God, stop doing this, man. You're making us look bad. Look, while I completely understand why some people might feel uneasy and frustrated about seeing pronouns in a game, it is important to put things into perspective. At the end of the day, even if that were the case, and this is what was happening, if it doesn't affect the gameplay and it's just an optional feature, there's nothing wrong with it. If they start going beyond that and being like, everybody must feel this way, and the characters are like, you didn't call him a sir, like, then of course people are gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Okay, but if you're just talking about a choice, that's something we've already had, right? It's a feature that lets players represent themselves how they want to without taking anything away from anybody else. And think about it. How many of you guys have played as female characters in a game just for fun? Like, I know dudes, and I've dated exes who, they're straight dudes, straight as can be, and they just like playing as female characters in video games because they like looking at the female characters. Or they're not a female in real life, and they're like, I just want to play as a female character because it's like one of those only situations where I can actually be a female because I know I can never be one in real life. It's a game. It's a game. The real issue comes in when things are forced or shoehorned into a game where they don't belong. For instance, I get when people get annoyed when a character that they know and love suddenly is replaced or changed for the sake of hitting diversity checkboxes. Like, it's like this character that's been a male this entire time, now we're gonna change it to a female, when like now every other game that you see, freaking 4 out of 5 are female characters, and it's annoying. Even us girl gamers don't like that. It's annoying. It feels forced and out of place. Like, it's not even just a new game. It's a game that's already been established, and now you're taking a male character that everyone already knows and loves, and you're just making them different just for what reason? To appeal to who, right? It's like they're taking something that already worked and just changing it to make a point. No one likes that. But when it comes to something simple like, do you want to make your character an it, like an alien or a woman or a man? It doesn't affect anybody else's experience, just specifically yours. Not the same thing, not even the same battleground. And I know the fault kind of lies with developers as well, because they've made this such a volatile and hostile ground for gamers. Now they're just scared of anything that remotely looks like that, but this is not one of those things. And if you see someone else saying that, I would try to look further into it for myself and see what they're talking about. Is it something that I can deal with? If it, now it's a case where if you see, like, for example, if the vegans have been trying to put the vegan agenda in games, right? Like, everyone must be vegan, and then you have this game out there that it has nothing to do with that, but the developers themselves have a wife who has a cousin that happens to be vegan, and she posted a picture on her Twitter saying, this is what my cousin, it was a vegan dish my cousin made for me. Oh, see, look, this cousin further removed from this person is what, yep, they're vegan, they're pushing an agenda, even though nothing that person made from here or now had anything to do with veganism and them pushing vegan activism in games. We have to know when to temper ourselves. You have to know what is necessary to address and what is not. This person being sarcastic in response to somebody being a little bit too gung-ho for no reason is not, this is not the battle to take. There is a lot of other things that are issues in gaming that I will admit that I myself covered. This is not one of them. I understand also why people are trigger happy, but this is the same way that very super radical feminists act when a dude just exists. And they're like, he's sitting with his legs open, patriarchy. Like, people just start looking at you. Maybe if you had points before, people would listen, but then you start to become ultra ridiculous. Guy sneezes and he sneezed too deep, and now you feel as though you're being molested. It's like, dude, like, why'd you sneeze so aggressively? Why'd you do it so deep? You're trying to scare me into lying down and opening my legs for you? You fucking incel. Like, come on. Come on. At that point, people will not take you seriously. And it's so saying, not every change or inclusion is a slippery slope into political agendas. It's the way that it is used. Just because there are real world issues surrounding topics like pronouns doesn't mean every little thing related to that specific topic is a problem. If I put a picture up of my dog and I put in my dog's profile that she's a she and a her, doesn't mean if I'm a game developer that I'm going to start putting characters in my game that are looking at the other characters and wanting to clap their heads off because they misgendered them. That's not how this works. I understand where you're coming from, but let's not get crazy, okay? As long as we're not forcing things into games that don't fit or they're alienating players, then it shouldn't be an issue. Let's keep our eye on things that actually matter and things that are actual issues, and give the game a chance to shine. Unless they show us something else in the marketing that's an issue, I haven't seen anything relating to this at all. But what do you guys think? Here we go. I feel like I'm gonna get it now, but I'm just giving you my honest take. I tried to be as neutral as I can be. I still love Rev. I think that he did jump the gun on this one, and I really hope that he retracted it after he did further digging and it was like, oop, I kind of messed up there. And yeah, if you look at a game and you see this is the case, if you don't get actual evidence of it and look for yourself to find the wokeness hidden inside, then don't just take what people are saying. That's what I tell people all the time. Like, if I don't like something, do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. What I don't like or what I do like, you could feel completely differently about it. Or I could be wrong, because I'm human. I know I'm a kid student, but I'm still human too. All right, let's have a discussion. Good luck out there.